So you may have clicked on this video because you want to play as this badass female ninja. Or you realize how ridiculously powerful Kiriko's utility is as a support. You want to rank up and become a Kiriko god. Well, I'm a Grandmaster Support and DPS player, and in this video, I'll show you how to climb and even carry your games. That's right, as a support. First off, I want to go through some options you can change as Kiriko in her settings. So go into options, controls, change the hero to Kiriko, and take a look here. Turn your swift step sensitivity to about 70% so you can easily, quickly teleport to allies as fast as possible when needed. Next, turn off toggle healing Afuda. It feels a lot more natural just holding the keybind for the amount of healing you're giving out, rather than just throwing out max healing. Then if you want to remove some clutter from your screen, you could turn off healing Afuda UI. There's really no point for having this on as it's pretty easy to tell this visually. And finally, I like to switch my keybinds for primary fire and secondary fire. It's much easier to aim your kunai with left click, and it's just a lot more natural when you're trying to aim precisely. It's not like you really have to aim when healing anyway, so just throw it on over to your right click. Now we can get into Kiriko's abilities, starting with her kunai. There's a technique to make her kunai much easier to hit your target. I like to call it Valorant aim. What you want to do is strafe left and right while keeping your crosshair head height on a target, and only aim left and right. I don't recommend jumping as it'll only make it harder to aim. You have to go for headshots on this character, as headshots are 120 damage rather than the 40 damage body shots, meaning you can two-shot squishy characters and create opportunities for your team to finish up kills. It's very important to practice your aim on Kiriko, and absolutely do not use the practice range. The bots here have way bigger hitboxes than normal, and their movement is just too easy to hit. I'll explain later in the video on how you can get very good with your kunai aim when I talk about how you should warm up and practice before queuing for ranked. Kiriko's healing Afuda. You want to make sure to get in your healing quick, as it takes a little bit of time to reach your target. Also, since it does this, you can actually throw some healing in while they're in a fight but haven't yet taken damage. This way, once they do start taking damage, they're already receiving the healing. Also, sometimes when you're healing a large group that are clumped together, I like to wiggle my crosshair like you're shaking your willy at the urinal to make sure that everyone gets that healing. And yes, oh god, I just said that. You also don't lose any healing per second if you weave in one kunai between healing. So make sure you're doing this to maximize everything you could be doing. Swift step. Most important thing here is that you know where your teammates are as best as you can so that you can quickly flick to them and teleport out when you're in danger. Just be wary of your teammates' positioning so that you don't end up in dangerous places not having this on cooldown. Typically, teleporting backward to your backline or behind walls with teammates is the safest. This ability also makes it overpowered when you're trying to deal with certain enemy heroes that are easy to harass, but we'll talk about that later in our playstyle. Using Swift Step also gives you 0.25 seconds of immortality when you come out of it, so that's pretty handy as well. Then there's the most controversial part of her kit, Protection Suzu. You absolutely do not want to waste this ability. Make sure you have it for these scenarios. Teammate or yourself is absolutely going to die and this will likely save them, or you want to cleanse effects from your allies that if you don't, they will likely die. Imagine your whole team gets purpled by their Ana while in the mid-fight. It's a great chance to cleanse your team by throwing it in between as many of them as you can. However, if they are not in danger, such as behind, cover, or far from the fight, don't use it. Don't just throw it out every time someone's purpled or stunned. If you think that they'll live, it's better to be saved when it's absolutely necessary, because not having it when it's needed will likely make you lose the fight. Then there's Kiriko's passive ability, Wall Climb. This is good to reach high ground and take good positioning, but it's also good for doing a quick wall jump to move unpredictably while strafing to dodge some enemy damage. And finally, Kitsune Rush. You don't always have to save this for an ultimate combo with. It's very good to use these as many times as you can in a game. Just think about it, saving this ultimate for too long and never using it will only make you have less of them throughout the game. Just don't use it during losing fights, and don't waste it in fights that you're gonna win. So if the fight's looking mostly even, it's a good time to use it. Also, make sure you keep aiming it until it actually comes out, as it's actually very easy to mess up and point in the wrong direction. Now we could finally get into Kiriko's playstyle. This part's important. When your team doesn't need healing, you are literally a flanking DPS. Just remember that you can always get out with your teleport, and make sure that you're always in range of your allies to do so. Taking off angles and being in unpredictable places can easily set you up for some easy kills on squishies that are not expecting it. Imagine you're on a flank before the fight, hiding and having your crosshair ready to burst down an enemy hero. If you successfully pull off this kill, then your team will already be in a 5v4 situation, giving you a massive advantage. Just don't take too long to teleport out if you're missing your shots or become in danger of dying, especially when facing heroes that can one-shot you. And don't just fight the enemy head on in front of your your whole team. Staying alive is incredibly important as Kiriko. It's a big reason to pick her over other sports as well as her utility, as it's very easy to teleport away from being dived rather than playing other sports who can't. So every time you die, just think about how you could have positioned better or played better to stay alive during the fight, or either group up for the next one. And when you're flanking and doing your DPS, prioritize enemies that are easier to kill, such as a Widow if you're able to sneak up on her, or a scoped in Ana. And it's also much more consistent and easier to land shots on targets closer rather than long range. So if you can sneak up on people up close, do it. Just be wary of certain characters, like know that Cassidy will throw his sticky net at you, and that's probably a good time to teleport away once he does. Or think about when Ana has sleep dart and try not to get hit by it. And don't fight tanks, as it's unnecessary unless they're actually one or the only ones left. Even if you're not doing well and not getting kills while flanking, it's good to distract some enemies from your team, giving your team the numbers advantage in a fight. Again, just please don't die doing so. And also make sure you are ready to immediately switch back to healing when needed. Don't just let your teammates be at a healing disadvantage and die. Now let's talk about how you can warm up and get ready to win some comp games. To get the most value out of Kiriko, you're gonna have to have some sharp aim. I recommend using game code BC471. When you're here, try to work on your strafing unpredictably and leading those headshots. Do this for a good amount of time, as the more you practice consistently, the more consistent your aim will be in game. My routine would be do this for at least 20 minutes, then I would also go into some deathmatch to practice some duels. I recommend going into custom games and searching for a tryhard deathmatch, as it's much more serious and a better way to warm up and play at least 2 of these full games. So I hope this guide helps you reach your potential as Kiriko and gets you some wins. If you want to learn another incredibly important way to increase your win rate in Overwatch, I would check out this guide I have on the screen right now. Also, please consider subscribing, as I'm doing my best to get to 1,000 subscribers and provide you the best Overwatch content I can. But anyway, thanks for watching.